Jody, guess what? What is up, my dogs? I'm sitting here with my jambon de fromage. He's still in France because he's sitting in some stupid lobby in a hotel. So if the sound quality, audio quality isn't superb, it's Jody's technical errors. What?
Mate, this sound quality will be pristine. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Where about you at right now?
Troyes, so like east of Paris, probably about 80 or 90 miles. Like it's actually quite a nice place. I'd never thought of going here before, but some nice cafes, restaurants. Just
Yeah.
making the way back to England. So yeah, I think tomorrow I'll be back home tomorrow evening time.
Right. So still in France. Can't wait to get back home, I reckon.
Well, like yeah, not too much of a hurry to get back on. To be honest, I've just been really disappointed. But we'll go into that later on. I'm sure. Like definitely got some big lows.
Yeah, I can definitely imagine. We can start off with the highs and lows, with your low being not the world championship, if you've got any.
Well, my main low is that. To be honest, I got another low. I got ill as well afterwards on Tuesday. Like just come down with something, felt absolutely awful. I had a banging headache, runny nose, probably completely run down. God knows what, but like yeah, just felt horrific. And then had to pack all my stuff up and drive for like 4 or 5 hours as well. Like it was grim, mate. Absolutely grim. Um, but my main low is just the race. To be honest, like just so disappointed with how it went. Like just absolutely gutted, really.
Yeah, have you so what have you done after the race, or shall we get into that in a bit? Have you got a high for us? A little high.
Uh, a high. Honestly, I don't even think I've got a high, mate. To be honest, like just lows, mate. Lows, lows, and lows.
What about the beer mile? I saw there were a shitload of
Yeah, the
people at
beer
the beer
mile.
mile.
The beer mile was really good. Yeah, that was really good to do. Like I would say, yeah, that's a high. I mean, I could say I'm on a high as well. Like I've on a little bit of a holiday on the way back, and that's been quite nice to kind of try and take your mind off it. But the beer mile was really good as well. Like that was a good high. Seeing everyone there, best turnout we've had, and that was a good laugh. Yeah, that was
So,
pretty decent.
how many people you reckon were there then?
Over 100, definitely. Like, and it's somewhere between 100 and 150 people. I mean, we even had a finish shoot of people because there were so many people. Like, it made like a finish funnel.
What position did you came in?
I think I might have been third or fourth. I think something like that.
And who
I
won it?
thought Will Clark won it. I thought I was second, but I know 100% I wasn't second because on someone's story, I could see someone else had already finished when I came in. So I think I might have been third or fourth. Not
But
100% sure.
we've talked about this in the past. In my opinion, Will Clark is technically disqualified because he's been absolutely tapered for this. He's been prepping for this for months and months. No Ironman world champs in his legs, just showing up fresh, trying to kick some ass. It's
What's worse? I've got two options for you: turning up to the beer mile, having not done the Ironman, or turning up to the beer mile with no beer and wanting to do the beer mile.
oh wow, oh that's a real tough one. What someone what wait someone turned up and with what, like lemonade?
Noel Mulkey turned up with nothing,
What
and
do
he
you mean
wanted
with
to do it.
nothing?
Literally, just no alcohol, no drinks, or nothing, and said like, "Has anyone got any drinks to the beer mile?"
Well, would you picture this? You're doing Ironman Florida. You're at the start line. The gun goes off, and you don't have a bike in transition.
Yeah, don't have any bike or run shoes. Has anyone got any bike or run shoes I can
It's the
borrow?
same
Like
damn thing. You can't show up to a beer mile with no beer. Like it's
that's a pretty crucial thing to have for the beer mile, isn't it? That's like
that
you
is
say. It's
pretty
like
crucial.
turn up to the swim without any race kit or like goggles to do the swim.
Yeah. So technically, but to be fair, I saw that Will Clark's his that was pretty impressive. That was pretty damn impressive.
5:08, mate. He started off like an absolute bomb.
Yeah.
It was a bit short. I think we had it as like I saw on his. I think it was like 60 meters short, 70 meters short, something like that. So basically, what's that like an extra like 10 seconds? So five
Something like
eighteen
that. Yeah.
with four drinks as well.
I saw him running 3 minute K pace. I got to be honest, that is pretty impressive because my mile PB is at 2:54 per K.
Really?
Yeah, so that's like 4:45 mile in.
Yeah, 3 minute K pace is 4:48. I had on my I started mine when I was like recce in the course, so it's a
Yeah.
bit like it has the pace is really slow. But I could my first K was 3:57, but that was including drinking 3 drinks nearly, or like basically 2 runs, 2 drinks, and just before I got to the end, about to do my third
But
drink.
to be fair, the bright side, mate, with Will Clark being disqualified because he didn't race, means you're moving up a spot. Is top three at a world
Top three.
championship beer mile.
Yeah, but I was second last year, mate.
Yeah, but
But then
was
this
it a
one was
world
more
championship?
competitive.
Oh yeah, there was a
Yeah,
world
yeah,
championship.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
mate. I've consistently been quite good. But the thing is, with my beers, I could have nailed it and easily gone a lot faster if I'd had easier choice. But I had a couple of cherry beers, which go down so easy. But I was like, this is cheating to have these ones that are too easy. So my other two, mate, were 8.5 percenters.
Why do you
So
always do this kind of stupid shit? Didn't you have the other time something like a puke beer? What was it again in the
no,
US?
that was what uh,
The
I can't remember what it
grenade,
was
or
called.
what was it?
No, it's something. But the guy recommended that in the thing. But the thing is, I like to mix it up and live it a bit on the edge, mate. But I had but them 8.5 percenters, they went down okay, like a lot nicer than the ones that I had in America. The ones that I had in Lake Placid were just absolutely vile. Like the taste, these ones actually tasted good. They were just, I mean, you imagine like to weigh out the fact that I had the easy cherry beers, I had these hard ones. So tactically, I was like, I'll do a cherry one first, then I'll have a hard one. Then I'll have a cherry one on number 3, and then my last one is the hard one. Another the fourth beer being an 8.5 percenter again. But I should have done the two hard ones at the start, and then I'd have got on the nice cherry ones, and I'd have been sorted. I would have probably done better.
What if someone turns up with these radlers? It's
Turns up
like
with what?
it's like a German lemonade kind of beer, 2%.
Oh, that's not. You can't use that, can you? That's totally taking the piss, isn't it? Do you know that? Do you know that Kronenberg beer?
Yeah,
What do you think of that?
it's alright. It's like a basic beer, isn't it?
That's what Will used to win. That was what he was drinking.
Kronenberg beer.
He had it, mate. He had it. He did a proper, had his course proper set out. Apparently, he opened the beers the night before. I don't know if that's true, to let the fizz out. He had his son, Freddie, handing him the drinks as he came bombing in. So he had them to his hand. He literally, it was like a masterclass,
Oh wait,
Like,
he already had the beers opened up.
apparently, yeah, the night
You
before,
can't do that because maybe he opened them up, emptied the whole cans, put something like electrolyte tabs with water in there, and like a Morton gel or something. So he's got 100 grams of carbs and an electrolyte tab along the run. It's
Maybe.
unfair because you don't know what's in there.
I don't
Could
know
be,
whether or not he,
could have
100%,
been
if he
beet
did.
juice. Could have been
Could
beet
have.
juice.
Yeah, it could have. Like, he could have had like some actual healthy stuff in there, which was definitely no. But like, who knows? Like, that's what I heard. Apparently, he opened it the night before. I don't know whether or not that's 100%
I
true. It
can
would have
tell
to
you
go
one
through.
thing, Joe. There are so many reasons to disqualify this guy, even though he did it in 5:08, which is pretty impressive. Um, Lance Armstrong did some quite impressive things, but he didn't get to keep his titles, did he?
We need to see Will at another race, don't we? We need to see him at another Ironman, don't we? And then see
The
what he's got
only
on an
reason,
Ironman in his legs.
the only way for Will to really claim the title is to get back in the game and do an Ironman.
Would you fancy? Do you think you've got a chance of taking him down with an if he has an Ironman in his legs, you have an Ironman in your legs,
No,
or do you
not
think
really. No,
he's
no.
really consistent with his splits? Because they were timing him like 78, 79s, for each 400 all
Yeah.
the time, including obviously like
But
drinking the
I
beer
will
as well.
say my beer drinking skills have gone down as well because when I studied in Germany at a in a German fraternity back in the days, it was it was 2014, almost 10 years ago, and there's this German tradition where you ring the doorbell of other frat houses. So, for example, if we live in house A, we go over to house B and we ring their doorbell. They have to come outside and drink with us. They have to. And drink is not a couple of sips. It's like proper down in beer. And it depends on which door, like which house you ring, how big the beer is. It could be zero point 0.5 or it could be a glass of 2 liters. And then there's another level to the game. Because if we are with five and they open the door up with like three roommates, it means they have to drink as much as we with five, but also the other
Right.
way around. So if we ring the doorbell and we're with the two of us and they open up and they're with 10 guys at home, we need to drink for 10 people. So I was properly trained back then.
Yeah, but your running was terrible, wasn't it, back
You
then?
didn't have
So
to run. It was no, but sometimes you need to focus solely on one thing at the sport. Some people just go from swimming into triathlon. I could have
you were
gone from beer drinking into beer mile.
you were the Uber drinker, weren't you? Like that would be how you'd win it on.
Well,
You'd win it on the drinking.
is practice makes. How did it say? Practice makes
Practice makes
king.
perfect. Practice
Practice
makes
makes
perfect.
perfect, and it makes the beer mile king. Whatever, um, you get
Will
it.
we be seeing you at a beer mile later on this year?
You will be seeing me at a beer mile later this year, and we will get into that later on at the end of this episode. But first, Joe, I want to share my low with you. My low is missing the Ironman World Championships. I was out there in Nice, but I had to leave Friday at lunchtime because the apples were waiting in the Netherlands, and I've got responsibilities, mate. I've got responsibilities. So yeah, that was actually a bummer because I would have loved to see that race, and yeah, I would
Yeah,
have.
that is a shame that
That is
you
a bummer.
weren't there. Like, what? How busy was the apples then? Let the people know. Like, what? Was it a
Um,
hard day's work or
So
was it quite?
some people think that it's me with a fruit juicer in my mom's kitchen. It's making like a little bit of apple juice. Now it's a company that I've got with me and my brothers. The three of us. We've been having it for 7 years now. I think this is even our eighth year, eighth. Um, Basically, either farmers or people with apple trees or a company. It could be literally anything. They come up to us. We've got a big machinery and we turn the apples into juice. We pasteurize it and we package it, and then they have got their own apple juice and they can do with it whatever they want. But yeah, it depends. It's just the fruit season. It's always the beginning of September till the end of October. It's every year, and I just I can't miss out. It's just the
Is
three of
is
us.
it a good is it a good apple season this year? Then are they
Well,
thriving?
no, it has been a disappointing weekend last weekend. It was still busy, but not as busy as normally. But you never know. But I think this year has been not as good as last year because last year there was a lot more rain, and the days that it was hot was a lot warmer. So it was last year was a really good apple year. But yeah, it's
What? So you
apple,
want like shitloads of rain and some scorching summer days every so
yeah,
often,
and then
and
like
then
more rain, but then in like intervals. Because if it's too dry, then the fruit doesn't grow and it will fall off the tree too soon. And it also depends because if you've got certain apples, if they fall off the tree too soon, then they get like really sour. You get sour juice. So
I felt like I was a rotten apple on Sunday, mate, at that race.
yeah, I
I
can
felt like I
imagine.
fell off the tree and was just
Yeah.
fucking
So
left to rot, mate.
on I had a little look on the tracker and I felt. Do you know what the annoying thing is for people that are following a tracker at home? And I've had a lot of messages from people on the Triathlon Mockery Instagram. People don't know what's going on. It's you in a race. It's also people that are watching on course, but maybe on course you can give them some sort of update. But people don't know what's going on, and it's a pretty frustrating feeling because you don't know what's up. You just wish that anyone that has put in the work has got the best day on the given day. That's what you hope for everyone.
Yeah, yeah, no, and I just felt like my swim was rubbish.
Take us back to the start of the day. So race morning, the alarm went off
Yeah,
at
and I
5
had
a.m.
a good night's sleep. Like I felt pretty good when I woke up. Like felt decent. Like I probably had about 7.5 hours sleep the night before, which is pretty decent for an Ironman, isn't it?
Yeah.
Uh, I had my breakfast and stuff. Felt all right. Like walked down there, like felt pretty decent. And then even when I warmed up in the swim, I felt good. And then just had a shit swim, really, like which was very frustrating because I've actually been
Well,
swimming really.
so you went to transition, pumped up the tires. You had a good big breakfast in the belly. Were you nervous before the start?
Yeah, yeah, a bit. Yeah, I was nervous, but you're always nervous before races, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, I was just asking.
so yeah, I was like nervous before it, and then obviously did a bit of a warm up when we got the chance to do it. Obviously, was told like it was a non-wetsuit swim, but we knew that it was going to be anyway. Did a
Well,
bit
it
of
wasn't it wasn't choppy during the warm up, right? It was already
no,
it was all calm.
completely
Yeah.
calm, like ideal conditions. Um, but just had like a crap swim. Like I
So the
don't really.
gun went off. Everyone ran in. Were you in the beginning in a group, or did you already
Yeah, I was like the
had a
last
bad start?
person. I was like the last person that didn't make the pack in front. But to be honest, I should have easily been in that pack because I've been swimming really well in training. Like I've been swimming the best times over the last 4 weeks. Well, certainly over the last since I got back from altitude, the times that I've been hitting long course are the best times I've ever hit in my life for swimming.
Mm-hmm.
So I should have swam really well. Like I've done some much better swims this year and last year off way worse swim fitness. So it was really disappointing, and it was the biggest deficit I've had in a world champs, despite being in my best swim shape. So
And what do you reckon was?
I just think one of the reasons was I just didn't go hard enough at the start. I didn't push myself hard enough. I was probably like 70 or 80%, and normally you kind of really commit, don't you? And I just think I just didn't commit at the start, and then got in a group, and obviously it didn't feel that hard in the group. It felt quite comfortable, and I should have like gone back in time. I would have gone out a lot harder, and I just didn't commit hard enough really. Like I did try that Morton bicarb stuff as well. So who knows? Maybe that just didn't work with me. Like I tried it once in training beforehand, didn't have any negative impacts, but didn't really gain anything. But thought I'll give it a go for the swim. But I don't even know if that made a difference or not or whatever. Like but I just didn't commit really enough in the swim. And then, but it wouldn't have really mattered. Like getting out on the bike, I could have still got a good result had I had the legs because two of the
So
people
first,
in my
you're getting out of the water. Um, I think what it was 56 minutes.
no, like 53.
Oh, oh.
Yeah, well,
53. Um, did you think anything at the time? Did you had an idea of how much you were down and
I didn't think I was down that much, like as down as much as what I was, but I got a split. Like I was like 5 minutes down, and I knew that was bad because to me it was more about what the deficit was to the leaders, and I knew I was in how well I was swimming,
yeah,
and how well I'd felt in the lead up. That I should have been. I was expecting to be about 2 minutes down, to be honest, 2 to 3. Looking at how I'd compared in races this year to the faster swimmers, and knowing how much better I was swimming now, so I was thinking that somewhere between 2 3 minutes would be about what I was expecting.
yeah.
Um, so, and I'd been feeling really good in the lead up. So, I was thinking like it wasn't like I hadn't been feeling good in the lead up. So yeah, got out onto the bike. But then when I was out on the bike, I just didn't feel like I was getting the speed. Like the power was pretty good. It felt pretty good. And it was strange because when I went out the day before on the bike, I went out with a friend who I ride with back home. And I did we did a few little pickups and stuff like that. And normally when I'm riding like pretty decent power, he wouldn't be able to stay with me, on my wheel,
Mm-hmm.
like, or he'd be putting out like more power, a lot more power than me. I was riding with him, and he wasn't. He was putting out less power than what I was, and I was like, this doesn't feel right. Like, so I stopped, recalibrated my power meter because I'm like, maybe my power meter's overreading. So I recalibrated it and carried on, but it just didn't feel like smooth. Like that's all I could say.
Mm-hmm.
So I got back, told my dad because he was like helping me sorting out the bike and everything. We had a look at it. Thought maybe the brakes were causing problems. We looked at the brakes. We got them as best we could. It didn't seem like it was doing anything. And then just tried the bike up and down the road. But one last time before I went in because he was kind of like, everything seems fine. We looked at it like couldn't really see anything that would be wrong. Anyway, so I put that in, and then obviously when I got onto the bike in the race, it just felt like sluggish, if you know what I mean. Like I just
Yeah,
felt
yeah.
like from the power that I was putting out, I should be going a lot faster. Like looking at how I'd done in races earlier this year and everything, and in this one, I was just putting out like half decent power, but I just wasn't getting the speed. And then when we got onto the big climb, I'd done a recce like a couple of weeks before, or less than 2 weeks before, similar power to what I went up in the race. I knew from how the recce went before the race that if I went out at say 353 watts, that was what I did in the recce up the climb. I wasn't going to be the fastest up the climb by no means, but I would have been losing not too much time, that it would have still been okay.
Mm-hmm.
I went up the climb at like similar power, but like, and when I did this in training, I was in like training setup, had 3 bottles on the bike. You know, it was probably a heavier bike with all the bottles I had and everything. And it was with like slower tires, not a wax chain, no aero helmet, no skin suit, you know, like a
Yeah.
lot of slower equipment and everything. And I was 2.5 minutes quicker than what I was on race day. And it just didn't add up. And then once I got up the top of the climb, normally that part would play into my hands, but it just didn't really. Even when I was the people I was riding with, just like didn't stay with them, and just felt shit really. Like then from then on, like, you know, I got to
Was
the turn.
was there if the power is good and if you're like feeling all right but not getting the speed, then 1 + 1 is 2. It means like your bike shouldn't be 100%.
No, and it's hard because we've looked at it and we can't really identify what it was, because I haven't really rode it properly, because to be honest, when I picked the bike up, the last thing I wanted to do was ride it. I was just so disappointed. So I haven't actually rode it properly since I've had it. You know, my dad took the race wheels back and everything, so it's on my car at the moment. But even then, like at the top of the climb, by the time I'd got to the power was pretty decent for the first 2 hours. But like, I think for me, it was like 340 watts, like normalized, and 329 average, which is like pretty solid, you know,
Mm-hmm.
for the first 2 hours. But I'd lost 15 minutes, mate.
15.
Yeah. So I was like, well, you know, your head kind of goes a bit and you're a bit demoralized. And, you know, that by that
Because at
point,
that point there were still 100 kilometers to go, and after the swim and that piece of
120, mate, still
one.
120. I think we were less than 60K in, something like that.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
All
Like
right,
60
so
kilometers.
120 k's to go and a full marathon, and you were about in total a bit more than 20 minutes down.
I was about 15 at that point, probably something like that. But then soon after, when I did the out and back, I was like 20 minutes down. But that was, and then it just kept going up and up and up. And you kind of like, well, what's the point? You know, like I'm just losing more and more time. And I
Mm-hmm.
was thinking, I'm not even going to do the run. Like, I'm just so far behind. What's the fucking point? Um, got to the end of the bike, put bike in like transition. Actually felt pretty good running. So I was like, oh, well, I'll give it some at the start and see, maybe a lot of people will blow up or see what will happen. So I started off, and then was catching a bit of time up onto people, but like I wasn't really going to catch top 10. And then because I was demotivated on the bike, I wasn't really taking in as much like nutrition as what I should have, because I did lose a bottle, but like, but by the time when that would have made an impact, like 3 hours in, 3.5 hours, I was kind of like, what's the fucking point? I'm half an hour down. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was thinking I'm not even going to bother doing it. So I didn't really get enough nutrition then to get me through a good marathon, which obviously I would have done had I been in the mix. But when you're in like 35th place or nearly 40th place, you know, and that far down, you kind of
Yeah.
think to yourself, well, I'm not really that bothered. Do you know what I mean? I was thinking I wasn't even going to do the marathon anyway. I was thinking, I've had it with this. I'm freaking finished. And I did like 2 laps, felt all right. But then I just like hit a bit of a wall. I was like sat down for like 20 minutes, 25 minutes near an aid station. I felt terrible as well. Like I felt like cold. I felt like shit, you know, a bit like just terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And I was seriously considering stopping, but a few of my friends were there who were like watching, and they were like at that aid station. And they said, "Oh, you know, see if you can carry on, see if you can carry on." So I carried on, and then I saw Christian Hugenhaug getting in an ambulance, and they were like, because he was having a real bad day, like rough day,
Well, after the
and
bike or on the run?
this is on the run, like 25K in, and then they were like, "Do you want to lift? Do you want to lift?" I was like, "No, no, I'll get my own way back." So I carried on, and then just decided, well, I'll finish the race, because I was getting a lot of support out there. Like the support was amazing, and I didn't really want to let people down by like not finishing, because like, you know, they've all come out, like loads of people had flown out from England to watch me, and there was a lot of people that were out cheering other British people on that were like giving me support and stuff. And I thought, you know, I'll dig in and finish it, because it's not like I'm ill or injured or anything. You know, I'm just having a bad day.
Yeah.
So carried on, and yeah, just got to the finish, but was just it was really sad, really, because as well, like my nan passed away like 9 days before, so I
Yeah.
wanted to do a good race for her as well, then because she was a big fan, like a big triathlon fan. So yeah, that was really sad.
Yeah, I mean, of course, and not just for you, but for any professional that was there at the World Championships, and literally, I mean, you went to Van Remo for 4 weeks, 5 weeks to put everything on the line for a perfect preparation for the World Championships. Then when it doesn't work out on race day, if people are better on the day, people are better on the day. But when you don't have your day, yeah, I can only well, I can't even imagine what it would be like to how it must feel. I know you live for the sport, you breathe the sport, and you've hardly got time every week to record a podcast. That yeah, you just want to be up there and see what you've got.
It was one of the most disappointing races I've ever had in my life, and yeah, just really, really
But
gutting and disappointing.
one bad race, even though, but a race like this, although it's a world championship, doesn't define who you are as an athlete or as a person,
Yeah,
because
but it was
you're,
all the time. It was all the time and effort and everything you put in. Just
of
gutted.
course, yeah, of course, and that it's okay to have the feelings of disappointment, and yeah, hopefully, but we'll talk about that in a bit. There are some other races this year that you can target, that you can still use the fitness that you've got right now to show what you've got in the tank, But yeah, I as no other know what you sacrifice for the sport, and how much of a chance you have to be up there, and then when it just doesn't work out, yeah, can imagine it gives you like sleepless nights. But know that me and the dogs were there for the support. You could see that the beer mile 100 plus people, or at the live podcast, unbelievable amount of people showed up, and that is because you've got a certain characteristic. How do you say it? Correct character. We'll just say
Characteristics.
character. That brings color to the sport. So yeah, it's like you always say, head up and on to the next one. Of course, there's time now to be disappointed, but
I'm definitely going to put my head up to the next. I look forward to the next one and train for that. But it's definitely going to take a while to
yeah,
recover from this one. It feels like like if you get a road, like a little scar or something, or a little cut or something, it heals in
yeah.
no time. I feel like I've been in a fucking traumatic accident and I'm on fucking life
Well,
support.
mate, do you know every
that's
every
how that's how
every
disappointed I feel.
just think of this without the disappointment feeling, but just the feeling that you're completely fucked. Every Monday from now till the end of the October, that's how my week starts. Because when a day at the Apple business, I am carrying up around 10,000 kilos plus in a day.
10,000 kilos of apples.
Yes,
Bloody hell.
a day. So every Monday morning, I wake up completely sore, like can barely walk. I just do an easy ride, an easy swim, and an easy run on Monday. And then I can train on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then a little bit on the Friday. So it's like so later on this year, I want to do Ironman Cozumel as my last main year. We'll get into the other smaller events, but I've got like 3.5, four, let's say 4 days a week, 4.5 days a week to prepare for it. And the other days, like no training at all, just 14 hours of hard graft.
Yeah, bloody hell, mate. Yeah, like I'll definitely put my head up and look forward to doing the other races, and we should be at the races together, shouldn't we, as well?
What would you maybe? Can you think about another race this year?
Oh yeah, like I knew 100% I was doing another race when that race was going to shit, like on the run. I was like, I'm definitely doing Florida. There's no fucking way I'm finishing the season with a race like that. Like, absolutely no way.
And what might that be? Because there's still a lot
I
going on.
I'm Florida, and then I think if you're thinking of doing both Florida and Cozumel, I'll do both as well. Just because they're only 2 weeks apart, aren't they? And you're not that far away, so I think I'll give both a go. Downstream
Yeah, but
swim as well, mate, is always quite nice, isn't it?
yeah. Well, for me, I've had the shittiest season, so much of bad luck, and I just want to do some races for the sake of doing a triathlon. I know that I won't be in any. PB shape for myself, but I just want to go there for the experience and have a race for me at the time for the best ability, and then train on for next year because 2024, just like Gustav Eden, it's gonna be my year. But yeah,
Yeah, that's
first of all, I'm doing
that's
the.
what I'm thinking, mate. Now
That's
2024 is
what
going to
you're
be my
thinking
year.
now. Well, you've won an Ironman this year. I would sign for that.
But it feels like a shit season, to be honest, and I'm
I
just
know, I
looking
know.
forward to putting it behind me. To be honest,
Yeah, I
like
know.
hopefully get a good result, one more good result at the end of the year, and then putting this one behind me and moving on. You know what you got to do, mate. If you want 2024 to be your season, you got to
What's
get
that?
on the you got to get on the strength and conditioning, mate.
Yeah, yeah. I will. I have been. I've already been. I've been there. I am. I am. Um, I just haven't been able to show the gains yet. Anyway, for me, I'm also doing. I had a message from Janis Ferdino. He said he knew that I was doing some gravel riding, and he said no
Is
one
this
knows
true? You actually had a
no
message
one
from him.
knows this yet, but I'm actually doing one more last dance. I'm saying, absolutely kidding me. And he said, I want to take you on a gravel triathlon.
He didn't really send you a message, did
He
he?
didn't really say that, but I can imagine he that's what he would think.
That's what he was envisioning,
He
like
was
sending you.
envisioning this, and he's just not really outspoken this to me yet.
He
But
hasn't actually personally typed it. He's just thinking it, and you know that.
I know because we're just on the same level always. He's just
I could actually see you doing really well in that because I think you're actually
nah.
really good on a gravel bike.
Yeah, but it's not a technical race. It's not a
Is it not?
technical gravel race. And it's not really no. Um, I'm gonna do it probably on a mountain bike or on a gravel bike. I don't know yet. But it's just, for me. I'm just going to Girona, going to train there, and I'm just going to use the race as a training, and then train on to Florida. But yeah, he's probably going to race as well. But I'm going to do that race. Signed up yesterday or the day before, and then Florida, and then Cozumel. Three
And then High
races.
Rocks, High Rocks, London.
No, I can't. I can't because I'm going away for a little holiday in
Ah,
Mexico afterwards. You should do that as well. Oh, you
yeah, I
saw
was thinking
Arabella,
that.
so Tulum might not be the best place.
I was thinking of having a little holiday afterwards. To be honest.
I can see you laying down on the beach with Laura in Cancun or a
So,
five-star hotel, chilling
could you
around.
imagine? Hopefully, making some spending money some prize money that I can spend.
Well, if I can do it, I'm just using the Apple business now to be able to afford for it. By the way, for me, it's cheaper to fly to Florida, fly back, and then fly out to Cozumel again.
No way.
Yeah,
But you're not
yeah,
going to do that, though, are you?
I am.
Really?
Yeah,
You're going to fly back from Florida and then fly back out to Cozumel?
yeah.
But it's literally like 2-3 hour flight, probably something like that.
I think even less from Florida to Cozumel.
But what about all the extra travel you're going to be adding on?
Um, the thing is that Cozumel was for sure, but I had to. The only thing I could do back from my race in Canada was rebook my flights. Um, Completely been screwed over by KLM because my tickets were already €3,000 to Canada, mind you, economy class, no luggage.
Really?
Um,
That's how much they charged you for it?
yes, yes,
Jesus.
2 economy tickets. Um, I said, oh, they said the only option for you to do it for you is to rebook your flights. They said there's a rebooking fee of €200 per ticket. So last minute, I knew I wasn't getting my money back, so I had to rebook it. So I had to pay €200 per ticket. But then they said you also have an extra cost of flights because the flights are more expensive. And I said, where the hell are you getting this from? Because if I look online, a flight to Cancun is only €900, and I've paid $1,500 for my tickets already. So that means I should actually get 600 back. But I had to pay another €1,000 extra to rebook it. So in total, I had to pay €1,400 extra, which makes 4.4K for 2 economy tickets to Cancun.
Bloody hell. That's
Yes,
absolutely ridiculous.
that is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And then I saw for me to fly to Florida out and back is only €700. So yeah, I had a message from Greta Thunberg. And I said, well, Greta, if you sponsor me, then I'd happily be rebooking the flights. But this is what it is. This is what it is.
It is what it is, and there's nothing you could do, was there?
There's nothing I could do. But I haven't really booked Florida yet. It would depend on the flight ticket and accommodation if I would do that race as an extra.
But Florida would be nicer weather for you, though, wouldn't it?
They would
Because the
both
mozzarella doesn't
be
like the hot, humid conditions, does he?
they would both be horrific. Well, the year that Christian Blumenfeld set the record that didn't count, that year it was only 20 degrees and raining.
Is that all it was? 20 degrees?
Cloudy, 20 degrees, rain. I'd love that.
Oh, that would be perfect with a downstream swim as well.
Downstream swim. Yeah. Yeah. But the thing is, when we are training for Cozumel in November, the UK is going to be proper grim, isn't it?
It is going to be really grim, mate. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that.
Me
But
neither.
on the plus side, mate, we've only got 6. If you're doing both of them and one of them's at the start of November, basically you've only got 6 weeks of training and then you're tapering.
I know. I know. I know.
So fingers crossed that you can get through at least 3 or 4 weeks. So it's only 2 weeks of bad weather.
But you would be keen to do 2 Ironman still.
I would be
Florida
keen to
and
do,
Cozumel.
yeah, because I'll go all in on the first one and hope I've got enough fumes left in the tank to get a result in the second one.
And did you already discuss this with Laura?
Well, I've definitely told her about. I was tempted to do both. I was
Yeah,
like 50,
just like
50
that Jan story, you had it in your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first try and bounce back from this disappointing race, and then if you've got the minerals to get back into training, because that's what I find hard right now. Well, you have done some races, but I've been fucking training since last year November with ups and downs, nails from my foot, with Corona, with this, that, cancelled races, with no race whatsoever, training every week. That you're thinking like, what am I doing it for? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Training for
Well,
training drives me flipping mad. I'm losing the grit and the determination to keep getting after it, because you want that off season.
yeah, definitely. And you want to get a race in, don't you, as well? And just like for the fun of it, don't you?
Yeah, for the fun of it. And sometimes, like what you have right now, so if you have a bad result, you feel wired because you want to have a good race. And when you have a good race, you see improvements, and you're like, oh yes, I want to get back after it. I want to get back in there. I want to.
Yeah, no, totally, 100%.
Yeah. So yeah. By the way, have you got your paddy for scuba diving?
No,
Deep water
what
diving?
have you got it?
Yes.
What so you
Because
can go deep water diving?
yes, in Mexico, it's awesome. I've been there before, and
Where did you do that? Like out in Mexico on holiday, you did the diving thing.
yeah, back in 2013 or 2012, something like that.
Bloody hell, you're like an expert, mate.
Yeah, but it's cool to do. So I thought if you go in there, we could go on a little
Do you
dive.
have to have it, or can you not just do it anyway?
Maybe you can get a 1 day license, but then you need to do some exercises in the pool first.
Yeah, I guess I'll just have to find one on the internet that I could buy, like a certificate or something.
But the upside is you're swimming with fins and like a whole lot of gear, so you must be an expert in that already.
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell them I'm an expert.
Fins,
I use fins,
snorkel.
snorkel. Yeah, paddles. I'll put some paddles on so I can get down there quicker as well.
The only thing you need to remember is all the signs. Like, I'm okay. I'm underwater. My PSI is 3.0. That kind of stuff. Have you got an Instagram post of the week?
No, I was thinking to ask you that. Have you got one? Like, I've literally not got any.
Not really. Not really. Bullshit Buster?
Nah, have you got one?
No, we can just...
Training, mate, doesn't guarantee you good results. That's what I'll say.
Training doesn't guarantee you, no, because there's also a little part of preparation, as in, for example, having the right route in your Garmin, or a preparation in the form, a little form of luck, not getting a flat tire or whatever. So preparation doesn't
But yeah,
necessarily.
and there's no guarantee you're going to feel good on race day, is there?
Yeah, no.
Like you can put all the hard work in, like all the work in the world in, but it doesn't guarantee you necessarily you're going to get a good result, does it?
Would you ever think so after a race like this? Did something cross your mind like, should I get a coach?
Uh,
I've only got a few years left in the bank. I am this good now. Could I be even better with a coach, or
yeah,
could
but
I
I've
be?
always it's always crossed my mind. But a coach can't you can't guarantee you're going to be any better with a certain coach, can you? Like if I knew a certain coach was going to get me better, then 100% I'd sign up to him. But what coach can you guarantee that you're going to be better? Do you know what I mean?
Well, there's never a guarantee, but maybe
Exactly.
maybe a little bit of yeah, I don't know.
Like how,
I
like
think
if you could have a very strong possibility, not maybe not a guarantee, then that you're going to improve, then yeah, absolutely, I would. But it's hard, how do you know? And then like if you go with a coach and you do waste like a year and a half, 2 years, and haven't got any better, then you've wasted it, haven't you?
all right. Think look at, for example, Patrick Lang. He ran a two almost 2:30 off the bike in Nice, which is currently quicker than everyone else. When you think, all right, my running is good, but it hasn't been near that. So maybe I can still improve a little bit to get to that level.
Yeah, but I would say when I did Wales, it probably wasn't too far off that
Hmm.
that level. Like looking at the time what I
Effort
did there.
wise.
Well, it was like 2:37, but it was 43 kilometers. So
Hmm.
on Training Peaks, it had as a 2:34 for the accurate marathon, 600 meters of climbing. Obviously, I've not consistently been doing it like him, but if you look at all the people that coach coaches, how many of them run 2:32 for a marathon?
Yeah, not a lot. I was just Joe. I thought maybe at some point. I know that you're very stubborn and that yeah, you're probably uncoachable. But yeah, I was thinking just some people don't want to have the burden of thinking about the plan, or having a coach to come around, and help you out with the training, or yeah. But you've got the fit pensioners and your dad. It's almost like a Netflix series.
I would consider. I would. I'm not saying I would be against getting a coach. It's just got to be the right person, isn't it? And
Yeah,
I'm not sure I've spoke to someone who would be necessarily the right person.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, you never know.
You never know in life, and you're never too old. At some point, I was thinking, by the way, last Saturday, are we too old, Joe, to become world champion with that Rico Bogan at, what is he, 22, and Sam Laidlow at, what is he, 23, 24, whatever, um, setting ridiculous fast times? Are we too old? Mate, at that time, I didn't even know how to spell bicycle in English. I was doing my thing in Germany, and but then you see Patrick Lang's performance. That age,
Well, what about Jan Frodeno at PTO
hey, young
US?
for exactly that age doesn't necessarily. Yeah, so you've got
I,
still some good years in front of you.
yeah, there's a few years for sure, but yeah, look at Jan Frodeno, 42, and he won the PTO US, which I would say was probably a stronger field than 70.3 Worlds.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Blumenfeld, Jan, top form. Yeah, there was a lot of hitters in that one. Ditlev. So at the end of the day, you just need one really good performance.
By the way, I saw just something else. Talking about triathlon, I saw a pro cyclist who's a silver medalist at the time trial, UCI time trial under 23, and he did the Challenge Almere bike lag,
Oh yeah, what did he do it in?
49.8 k's an hour.
And he was what medal did he get?
Silver medalist at the World TT Championships under 23.
So what was his total time for that then? What was it, like 3:40 something?
What do you mean 340?
Like
No,
his
because he did the half. He did the half amateur race in the
oh right.
relay form.
So what was his time for that then? Like 150,
Something like that.
152?
But then the beginning part, the first 5K and the last 5K back are really slow, aren't they? Twisty and turny.
Yeah.
So I reckon he did the fast bits at 51 k's an hour, 52 k's an hour.
Yeah.
It's good going, isn't it?
Yeah, but I would also say it actually shows how fast the pros were. If the top pros are doing around 4 hours flat,
Yeah,
and you know they're only like they would only be going through the half 7 or 8 minutes slower, but they're running a marathon after it and having swam 3.8 k.
because
Because you
Starkey
think,
did it in just under 4 hours.
well, you think if you weren't doing a marathon, you didn't have to do the K, you'd easily be pushing an extra 30, 40 watts, 30 watts, wouldn't you? That's probably going to be 10 minutes. So then you're like not far off the set, not like a little bit slower than what that average, but you're doing double the distance.
Hmm. So what you're actually saying is, um, props to him that he went out to exercise on that day, but it wasn't that impressive
It's decent. No, it is
because
decent.
he
I don't
didn't
know
do a
what the
run
course is
off the bike.
it is decent. It is decent. I would like. It would be. I'd be. I mean, it's you'd want to see. I would like to see. It's a shame there's not a pro race on that for the half on that same
Yeah,
day to see how it
true.
would compare to the
But
pro
still,
time.
the yeah, like you're saying, Starkey did 4 hours or just under four
Well,
hours.
this year, loads of the pros did like around 4 hours in
Yeah,
the
four
full.
hours five because it were extreme good conditions for Challenge Almere. So there was wind force 0, which is extremely rare for the Netherlands. There was a mega low air density, very high temperatures, and high humidity. And
Wow,
that's how people with. So there were some files with 250 to 260 watts with people that would ride something like 4 hours and 15 minutes. Even
really?
age groupers who ride, even age groupers rode 4 hours 30, some with like 230, 250 watts. It's not
Holy
with
shit!
drafting, it's just been extremely fast. And the course is bang on accurate. I think it's even 181 Ks or 179.8. It's like bang on.
Wow, that would have been a good one to do, wouldn't it?
That would have been a good one to do. And Menno
I
Koolhaas
sh-
has set on that day the fourth fastest Ironman time ever. But his result was a little bit unnoticed because Ironman Nice was on. But he swam with Lucas Voigt, rode 4 hours something, and then he ran a 240, which makes 7 hours and 36 on a legit course. That is no downstream swim, nothing.
yeah, that's decent.
Non wetsuit swim.
Was it non-wetsuit? Was it for it?
Yeah, non wetsuit.
So what was their swim split?
46 something.
Fast. That's decent.
And the wild one swam 59 minutes, 58 something. So it's not
Oh my
short.
god. 12 minutes into the wild one.
Yeah. And I
Bloody
must
hell.
say, I was actually surprised by that because I've been swimming with the wild one for a little bit. And I thought he was able to, I think he should be capable to do at least 54 minutes.
at least
100%.
at least what the Usternick's done at his best.
Yeah, 100%. He was swimming better than me in the pool. And I'm swimming better now than I did last year.
It is strange with him because for people that don't know, this is the guy that me and Tom have trained with. Like he was out in Dubai with us, and I think from what he does in training, you would expect him to race a hell of a lot faster than what he does in racing, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
But
100%.
with I mean, everyone knows someone like this.
But how
They,
come we
you
can
know what
also
they say.
take the Terminator as an example?
You know what they say about people like that, don't you? They train like Tarzan, they race like Jane, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, but
And
there's just a lot more in the tank.
a lot more in the tank. They're obviously going into races overly fatigued, too tired, or something, or the pressure's getting to them and they're just not able to race to the
Mhm.
standard they should be. Because some of these people,
Yeah,
they should be racing so much better. Like you can see it consistently day in day out. They train well. So I don't know what it is, but like that would be very I would be extremely
I
frustrated if
must
that was
say
me.
for the wild one this time. So he had a swim. I'm not sure whether he was happy or not with the swim, but it was 58 minutes. And then he had a decent bike, and then a good start of the run, and then he had an Achilles problem. But for a change, it did look like that he's starting to have a good race. So what he trained for.
All right. Well, yeah, fair play to him then. That's decent. And
But I
that's
still
pretty
find
much.
it strange with like open water swims because we did sessions in a long course pool where he was like really quick. How he can then not do it in open water?
Does he train in open water?
I don't train in open water. I'm a 54, Joe. I just-
Maybe you're limiting yourself. You could be a 51, 52.
yeah. That was maybe one day.
How come I get called a 53-minute Ironman swimmer when I've had times that are a lot faster than 53 minutes?
Because you don't look like a 49-minute what you call it's I don't know. Do you really get, mate? Thanks for getting on. I'll see you next week.